So I'm back with the nutrients. I'm back with an answer. At least answers that I've come to. And if they work for you, they work for you. Okay. Some of the process of understanding that you are being heard, that you are being listened to, has been stripped from most teachings, especially in this Western part of the world, on purpose. And the reason is to make sure that you are more docile, to make sure that you are more pliant, and to make sure that you take directions well and you respond to fear. Right now, when people go through dark nights of the soul, very tough times, there is what feels like an insurmountable boulder in front of you. And I'm aware of this. I have been through many dark night of the souls. But the thing about every single one of them that has taught me over time, you always get through it. But I know people get sick and tired of hearing that. There was a time when I would go get a reading. They'd be like, oh, you're going to have long life. You're going to have this. And I'd be like, that means I'm going to get through a whole bunch of stuff. Because I was going through that much stuff that often. And this was not recent. This was actually some time ago. But I was also told at some point that I would make it through, that the lessons would start to make sense. Why do we go through this? We go through it because we continue to look outside of ourselves for answers that we are actually holding. Our answers come in the form of healing ourselves in many different ways. There's not one size fits all. I have learned that being I've always been a very deep person, a person that could hold deep conversations with adults when I was a little girl. Always. And that just only got deeper and deeper and deeper. My studies stepped up. I kept moving on to other things and eventually got into this very spiritual world in my early 20s. Knowing that I was being heard was something that I would say came in quickly, and it felt like something that I was getting high off of, to be honest. I sit down and meditate and meditate and meditate and have these questions written down sometimes, or, whatever I decided was going to be my way that day. And then I'd meditate, clear my mind. And then somehow that night there would be an amazing dream that answered all of my questions. And then it would slowly walk right out into my life. I would be having these experiences. So you can imagine how geeked I was when this was happening, because it looked like, oh, I stumbled into the holy grail here. I'm the one, right? And then all of a sudden it stopped. I had started going to meet with different soothsayers, because I had determined, soothsayers, readers, seers, you name it. I had determined that everything that was happening on the floor with my meditation in my little apartment at the time was happening because this person had read something in me, and so maybe there's something else that I needed to hear. Honey, that began what we call broad and spacious. Okay, is the road that leads off into and now are in cramped. Y'all have all heard this saying before. I'm not saying anything new. Okay. It began a process that kept me looking outside of myself. Meditation in the beginning was so like, I have to have all these things here, right? I must have a representation of the North, of the South, the East, and the West. That was very important to me at that time. But then the dream didn't happen. Or I didn't get some insight. And here I go. Paying like an addicted person to find out more. And I wasn't going there to ask love questions. At some point in my life, I stopped asking about stuff like that. Because I just realized I was getting hurt a lot. So that was not my thing. I really wanted to know my connection to the universe, if you will. I wanted to understand what was my purpose in being here. Yeah, of course, I walk through the door. They all tell me, oh, I'm a rebub. I'm a rebub. Rah, 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 rah. And I'd be like, okay. It happens everywhere I go. Let's get down to the reading. Right? Let's get down to the nuts and the bolts. And then I stumbled into a community that gave a little bit more hope of it being an internal process that I could trust because there were workings that I could do to heal my life. Now, I'm not looking at this as something outside of me. I saw it as the biggest answer for me at the time. Imagine my process as I go along, because I had been getting, I had some amazing teachers. Thank goodness for the teachers that I've had over time, who taught me some amazing things. But what no one ever said, which I'm going to say now, is that eventually your intuition has to kick in and you got to kind of start tapping into yourself. And this was a spiritual process for me. So at this point, I am calling with tons of questions, especially early on in my process as a spiritual person, and feeling very much like they had all the answers. I wanted to sit at their fountain and learn as much as I possibly could. This happens anywhere. What time is prayer scheduled? I will be there every single time, and I will be praying down everything, bringing it down. I will be there to help pull through the energies that are supposed to be here. This applies across the board. I'm going to get it done. Anybody can relate to this. You get there for study. You get there for meetings. You get there for fellowship. And there's all different days. You get there for singing. You get there for learning the process of the community that you have joined. But it's still an external process. You're stepping into what is a bigger, much more organized process, but for some reason it still just seems just beyond your reach. Like, in my tradition, the traditions that I had stumbled into that were more geared towards who I am, I was having vivid dreams about major stuff that was coming down that week. And I was writing that stuff down, and then I was being told, "Oh yeah, we all did that. It's really nothing." And I was like, "Dang, I thought that was special. I thought that was special." Okay. So then it's like I was guided to this process where it's like, yeah, we're all gifted like that. Like, you have to see like, the amount of, I would say, pseudo gaslighting that was happening everywhere was mind blowing to me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. People with gifts, serious spiritual gifts, could see all kinds of stuff around me and wasn't telling me a daggone thing. And this is consistent. This has happened throughout my life. Now, of course, I've learned a lot over time. But I'm here to tell you things began to change when I began to collect all of the instances where something miraculous had happened to me. So I kept a dream journal, and recently, within the past maybe 5 years, had ran into it and started looking at it. I kept the manifestation journals, and recently, within the past maybe 2, 3 years, started looking into them and reading them. I was like, there was something here all the time. I was always on the pulse, but I kept looking outside of myself. I want you all to get, when you keep looking outside of yourself, you don't feel your connection to the divine. You don't feel your connection to God. You don't feel that you're loved, and you don't feel that you're special, but you are. The way that you begin to feel that is, you need to have a good old prayer, which is a conversation between you and God. But realize that that conversation is between you and a bigger part of you. If that is too spiritual for you to walk down that path, realize that that's between you and God. And it is a very special relationship that you are developing. Very special. But you're not going to be developing it from a weak muscle. It's been there for a while because you've been praying. But you keep expecting things to come to you externally or in very big demonstrative ways, and it may not be coming like that. You need to understand that you are more a part of the creation process of the miracles that would happen in your life than you are on the receiving side. The receiving side is really the acknowledgement side, seeing what it is that you created. A lot of my dark moments were always very financial. But when I was younger, they were also very much like, what is my soul here for? Do I need to be here? And I went through a rough time with that. No official attempts or anything, but definitely feeling like I left my family religion, got kicked out. And now I'm out here searching, and everything that I could think of that was negative was happening to me. I was experiencing it. But notice how I said a couple of things. Everything that I could think of and happening to me. As I get on in age, I learn it's happening for me. And that if I change what I'm thinking on, the connection gets that much more deep. I wanted to, in many ways, create positive results for myself. And as a single mom, you can imagine it was almost always, as further on as time goes on, financial. It was always financial. And at some point, I began to realize that I could really command a lot of financial abundance for myself and for my child the more that I thought about it like that. But very easily, I would slip back into feeling like I'm begging this energy outside of me to give me answers. I am here to tell you in this video, I had to realize I was always being answered. Always. I had to turn around and accept the answers and realize that I was being answered. That I wasn't being ignored. I didn't have to hope for things. It was coming, or it was there already. And I just had to relax, let it come on in, or relax and see it coming into me. Be that letting go of sadness. Be that understanding there's a way out of financial stress. Be that digging further and further into my personality to get more confident about it. Because all these tools are down here. I might as well use them to figure out me. Now, my path may not be for everybody, but for somebody out there, this is speaking to you. Hit the link in my bio. And you can just go to the part that says thoughts and kind of just like put questions and stuff under there. Or look at anything under there. But this is more of a video to say to you, again, you are not alone. I am not going to go so far as to say there's even more to it, because there really isn't. You are not alone. You're bigger than what you understand. We all are. And the more that we accept how big and beautiful we really are, the better off we'll be. And it doesn't look like a bunch of people hugging you. It looks like you finally accepting all parts of yourself. And realizing that those dark times, they can find you the more you go into them with your thoughts. Just start to back out. I used to call it the tunnel. I said, oh boy, here we go. You ain't go down this tunnel again. Dark tunnel. And now I say, I don't got time for that today. I'm not going down there. And I'd stop it and move on. I know sometimes it's not that easy. But you can decide that you are connected and you are worthy, and move forward from there. Please enjoy the rest of your day.